Welcome in to Remedial Adventuring 401, a new real play TTRPG podcast. I'm Adam Souza, and I will be your guide through this fantastical journey as your DM. Prepare for an epic tale with 6 adventurers, each bearing the weight of their past failures from their original parties. Now thrown together in the Remedial class, they're on a quest for redemption and their elusive adventuring license in the captivating realm of Alorium. So, gather around the virtual table, wield your dice, and brace for a tale of second chances, daring escapades, and the pursuit of greatness amidst setbacks. Welcome to Remedial Adventuring 401, where new legends emerge from failure. Alright, well, we've got you all in the Ice Shroud Dominion. You have made it to the closest... Well, no, you let's start over. You all basically passed out in a snowstorm and then woke up in a hot yurt and have discovered a small town around, and you have noticed that there is a church nearby associated with the god of the blue flame, also the god of the dead, and you're also aware of people who had talked about ice trolls in the nearby cave, but right now there's no push for anything, so it's completely up to you what you would like to do. You had met a small goblin-looking person with a lot of necrosis, who kind of explained a few things, but not too much. So it's really up to you guys what you want to do.
And where are we currently? Are we in the town or in the church?
You are in the town. You had just exited the yurt, and you were like, "Ooh, a church," and then that was it. Or actually, I think we ended with you walking to the church, so you probably have just gone.
That's what I thought, yeah. All right. Eustace wants to scratch his religious itch and learn all about this church.
Sure.
Same here.
When you say that, like, in what way do you want to do that? Like, do you want to start talking to people, or are you just, like, looking at it and inferring things? Are you going to take a pamphlet? Like,
I'm a stranger in a strange land here. So Eustace would kind of walk in and be like, where's the ask me about my death god shirt wearing guy?
All right. I guess in that case then, the first thing I would like from Eustace and Holly-Brooke, and really anybody else who's interested in the same thing, is the religion check, just to see your base knowledge of where we're at.
22!
Okay.
And peace be unto you.
14.
Okay.
Daddy, can I drink blood?
What happens when the god of death dies?
3. Ayhaz is like fully atheist, but when you said death god, he was like, "Oh, I could get into that."
Holly-Brooke has a +0 for religion, which I find interesting. Okay, but she got
not hip or trendy enough,
You put all of your religious knowledge into survival.
The undead cleric with a 0 in religion and a +4 or something in survival.
It's like a +8.
+8, there you even go.
I mean, in a way that does make sense.
It does.
All right, well, let's put it this way. Yes, Ayhaz definitely is just in it for the aesthetic, has not really picked up on the actual religious side of it. Cassandra and Holly-Brooke, you can both tell that this is, so in the world that you're in, it's not like I believe in this god or I believe in that god, and it's like, ooh, which one's real? Like, they're all real. It's just a matter of which one do you put your emphasis on. But this is like a very specifically like one god type deal, in the sense that there is, it's obviously it's not a monotheistic in the sense that there are other gods, but at least you're only on this one. And it follows a lot of what, like, the basics of other religions. Like the sun god is the most common one. I don't think any of you actually worship that one, but it's a very common one, so you would all be familiar with it. So there is like a structural overlap in a lot of these religions, which makes it easy for, I think, people to kind of convert and reach out and branch out and things like that. So you realize, like, okay, this is like a religion, and there is like this very specific deity that they're worshiping. And Holly-Brooke, you already know who this deity is, so at this point you're kind of just in the situation. Eustace, on the other hand, I think is having a bit of like an epiphany where he's coming in and he's not only like realizing. Actually, before that, so Holly-Brooke, no,
Yes.
I'm thinking of the other god. Well, actually, first, so everybody heard the dead god's name before, right? In the dream.
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Now, how did you find out this god's name? Was it the goblin?
I do believe so.
Okay. Did the others also hear it?
I think so, because I was trying to drag Holly-Brooke out of the closet/casket, I believe.
Okay. So, Eustace, you know the name of the god, and as you're kind of like looking around, the main thing about this god is that it is the god of the dead, but there's also a lot of like subdominions underneath that. Because, again, it's not necessarily death in itself. It doesn't control death, but it does control the dead. So they are parallel. I guess it'd be like the same thing of being like, oh, I control the lights in the house, but not the electricity in the house, if that makes sense. Like they're definitely related, and like you can't have one without the other. You know, they are separate things.
So the concept of death is not their dominion. The dead are.
Right. So the actual
Okay.
spirits of the departed is this god's dominion.
Gotcha.
Underneath that, however, because of the way that it is, there's kind of like subsets to it. So in the same sense that it's like, oh, I'm the god of light bulbs instead of the electricity, you know, there's a lot of aesthetics that go with that. So it's like also the lamps and like reading desks and like parts of the house that are all devoted to this. So there's like subdivisions of that. So in regards to death, there is a lot of traditions that deal with that. And the dead are worshipped. Well, they're not worshipped, but they're like seen in high reverence. So the dead are underneath this god, but then he's the one that's, you know, being worshipped in this way. But you can kind of pick up like the big thing that people kind of think about when they are in this religion is that basically you're on loan. Like eventually you're going to die, everybody dies, and your spirit is eventually going to cross over one way or the other. Now, there are multiple ways for your soul to go after death. However, this god seems to be kind of like indifferent to your beliefs, like whether it goes to one place or another. It's just you are dead and your soul basically counts as like a number. So they're very egalitarian in the sense of like, hey, anybody who believes in a life after death is pretty much right. So there's really not much hate for like any other religions like that, unless there's something very specifically anti-death and anti-departed and anti-life after death. Now, there are ways to stop existing that aren't death. So things like just stopping existing or like no longer existing on this plane, for example. Those things are going to be looked down on within this religion, because then the god of the dead can no longer basically use you as a number to its power. And the only other thing I think that you would just glean from like looking around is, again, there is that blue flame aesthetically. You'll see it in mosaics, you'll see it written down in paint and whatever, but it's very stylized, and it's never used though in a way of like, because sometimes you see fire and you think like fire and brimstone, or you think like fire from a disaster. It's not depicted in that way ever. It's always depicted as like almost life-bringing, because there is no death without life. So this flame is a cycle of bringing more people to life so that later on they can be cold, but you can't coal something that doesn't live.
Okay. Eustace mutters to himself, well, I just love learning about subdominions. And so he's tickled by this. One quick question. Is there anything to be gleaned of where a Joaquin Phoenix deity would fit in this? Because Phoenixes love to rise from the ashes and extend their own life or be undying. So Eustace is a little trepidatious about that, because he's coming in like, uh-oh, am I unintentionally the enemy here?
With a high religion check, I would like an insight check with advantage.
Okay. 14.
Okay, not too bad. So even though your god is like a phoenix and it comes back more and more, it's not everlasting. Like, because your god is a god, it has its own lifespan. But in the symbology of phoenixes, there is a time when it eventually dies. And in the same way that elves can live for hundreds of years, or fairies could live for thousands of years, in the same way, eventually the phoenix will end. And at that point, that's when the soul crosses over. And it does seem that this god is very specific to, like, I don't want your soul right now. I just want to know that I'm eventually going to get it, and that's enough for me. Yes.
God is, and lately the Joaquin's Phoenix's influence is waning due to the latest epistle of the
God is
the
patient.
Jester 2 bombing very quickly. So it's okay. It's good to know. All right.
I think the other thing too that you realize is the subdominion of Joaquin Phoenix is gold, and because gold is unfortunately like what gives life in a capitalist society, that is also seen as a boon to this religion, because again, if you increase life, then you increase death in the end.
Good to know. Words he never thought he'd say. I guess everything's a-okay with the god of death.
Although I think you would think that the idea of hoarding wealth might not necessarily be seen positively in this, because again, it needs to be shared for all life to thrive, not just one person.
Naturally.
So Ayhaz has some concerns about this church.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Church of the Dead. Churches tend to have music. We need to leave before the music starts, because if there's anything I know about the dead, once that music starts, it never stops. And then these smelly people in vans will start showing up, and they'll start offering us drugs, which, okay, maybe we should stick around for that, but I'm just worried that we'll get stuck.
This is a song that never ends. It's
Fire
on
in the
and
mouth,
on,
red
my
flame.
friend.
So, like, everything we've been learning about the dead, it just seems so much more reasonable than what we were taught back in the homeland. So far.
So I'm liking
far.
this form of dead.
Everything smells like patchouli, and you can't get the tie dye out of your hands or your mattress.
Eustace is going to get those dancing bears drawn on his lion skin or tiger
I mean,
skin.
Ayaz already has a tattoo of his zombie waifu.
Are we all becoming Death God Otaku?
I mean, he's just into it initially to piss off people back home, but like that they're turning out to be kind of reasonable. He's actually kind of upset.
No, this won't piss off the old fuddy-duddies.
It's like it's a mix of relief and disappointment. Like, I can't take this as the symbol I thought I could.
Well, now that you're inside the church itself, the other thing that I had mentioned before was the steeple of this building, instead of being like a pointed top, actually had like a very flat top, and instead of having some type of clock face, there seemed to be a very large hourglass in the steeple itself. And you're not quite certain if it was purely decorative or if it actually was timing something, because you're not close enough to see if the sand was actually going through. But that was something that was at the top of this, and it doesn't seem to be accessible from the actual main region of the church.
God of Death 2 will get you in the end. God of Death, will wait.
God of Death. See you soon.
Time is running out.
Holly-Brooke, give me a perception check.
We'll do. Hey, a 17.
All right. With a 17, you see a few things in this area that are like of note. One, you do see areas that you could basically make a donation. So there's little boxes with little slits where you can place either coins or other methods of payment if you wish to donate to the church. There's also a small little silver dish, maybe about 6 inches diameter, and it does actually have a blue flame that's burning. There's no source of flame, like there's no wood, there's no presumably oil or gas or anything. It's purely in this little silver plate, and it's just kind of sitting there by the entrance as people come in.
Is it emitting any heat?
No,
Okay.
or at least not that you can feel from here.
Right. Can I go over and like kind of get closer to it, palms out?
Sure, you approach the flame. As you walk over, though, Holly-Brooke, you also look, you see that there are areas for people to sit to pray. They do have, long benches, as well as different things that seem a little bit different from religions that you might have seen before. There's almost like a sitting area with much more soft and comfortable, almost pillowy like chairs and couches and things like that, as well as some mats, some incense burners, and you also see on the two walls, either left or right of the main hall, almost seems like those old like catacombs where there's like a bunch of little arches and you can tell someone was like buried in there.
Ooh. So Holly-Brooke wants to kind of go sit in a pew.
For sure.
And then, not really knowing how to pray, but this is not her forte, but she kind of looks up and goes like, oh, like how does this work?
God!
God, tell me how to talk to you.
Give me a religion check with advantage, since you've already had a relationship with this god.
Oh, Holly-Brooke. Oh.
Holly-Brooke sliding into Death God's DMs.
13.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any sliding into the DMs with a 13.
You'd be surprised.
I think that when you look around at the other people praying, they're, again, using other types of prayer. Like you recognize different religions' style of praying. Some people are just sitting, some people are kneeling, some people are full prostrate on the ground. And all of them seem to be praying in their own way. But when you see them, there's like an emotional backing to it, where it doesn't seem like they're really praying to the deity itself, but kind of the core concept, again, of like the dead and life after death. And you realize that you can't really just talk to your god, or at least this god, in the normal transactional phrases that other religions might have. This one is, you really have to believe, A, in his message, I guess, and B, you have to respect the dominion of the dead. And if you do that, and you're basically preparing for that time, whether it be for yourself or for others, your family, your friends, or just anyone you know, or even just the fact that it exists in general, that's kind of like a secondhand way of giving the god's attention. So you're not really talking to this god as much as you are just kind of like exemplifying what the god's into, and then the god's like, this one gets it.
Oh, so it's Eustace in high school trying to get the attention of his crush.
Yes,
I'm real into
everything
death.
you always wished.
I'll say
I
this.
like-
real into death.
I like dead things. You like dead things? Wow, I didn't know.
Wow, me too.
That's definitely not Holly-Brooke at the moment, though.
I was dead once.
So I think if
Holly-Brooke's dead, but she hasn't come to grips with the fact that she's dead. And
okay, well, if you want to go in the more traditional route of speaking directly to the god, especially with like, I want something out of this, even if that want is just to understand the god, you can give me a persuasion check as you pray in whatever method you'd like, but it will be at disadvantage.
It's gonna, yeah. I'd like to try, because it's more like, okay, why are you bringing me into this kind of a thing?
Sure.
Like, why am I seeing the light when I don't practice this religion? Like, why me?
Sure.
Why now?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, but you said so persuasion with disadvantage.
Yes, please.
Oh, this should be interesting. And I have no clue. It's
Yeah, with a 6, I mean, you put out that question, and I think in response to that, give me an insight check.
Yeah.
hey, it's a 24.
Okay. All right, with a 24, I think in this instance, Holly-Brooke and you as a player can be a little meta in this instance. You're praying, the god may or may not have heard it, but there is no response. And I think in reality, you're kind of asking that more of yourself. Like, what makes you part of this? Like, you didn't grow up with this. Your family never talked about it. Your whole society seems to be anti this. So why suddenly are you thrown into this? And I can't give you the answer with a 6 on your persuasion check, but with a 24, I would like to hear what Holly-Brooke is thinking.
She doesn't know. It's still like, why? I don't think she's smart enough to.
I think you gave yourself a 24 insight check. So even if you don't feel smart, you have in this instance the chance to have an epiphany.
I mean, maybe it's the way she's treated other people in the past. Maybe it's a second chance at life to do better, to be better.
Well, one thing that I would suggest, and there's really, again, no answer to this, but just something to be cognizant of, was that when your god did talk to you, he talked to you, or not talk to you, but when he actively intervened, it was through a dream, and it was a dream of your previous party, but it involved your current party.
Oh, yeah. So I would think that would lend itself to being that better person and maybe righting old wrongs.
Unfortunately, you don't get an answer, but you've at least made that hypothesis for yourself.
Okay.
While Holly-Brooke is praying, Eustace, you had gone to the blue flame to confirm there doesn't really seem to be, especially for a flame, that size, because the bowl in itself, like I said, 6 inches wide. The flame is not just like a candle. This is like a full flame. Like, something should be burning for this amount of plasma to exist, but there's nothing there. However, the heat emitted might be the equivalent of like a candle, which is, if you were to stick your hand in the center of it, you would probably get burned, but if you were to sit next to it, you're not going to stay warm.
I see. Gotcha.
For our 2 Dragonborn, and also for Cassandra, what are you up to?
So, looking around, do I see any religious figures? What besides the attendees of the churchgoers? Who else are around?
There does not seem to be like a pulpit. However, there does seem to be certain parts of the church that might be more of like an administrative role, and there you see this one guy standing off to the side, and he's kind of just like observing, and at first it looks like a guard, because just like stereotypical dress, like he's standing there. You're again in the Ice Shroud Dominion. He has no shirt on. He has thick furry pants that just like cover his legs and kind of make his legs look thicker than they really are, and he's just standing there. He's got a bald head, a clean shaven face, and as he kind of just stares out at everybody praying, you kind of get the feeling that he's like some type of overseer. Since you don't really understand the hierarchy of this religious service, you don't know if he's like a priest or something, but he does seem to be the closest you can find.
So what are we doing in this church again, guys? I forgot.
Just visiting, really.
You had 2 things to come for here. One, someone wanted to make a donation because y'all got saved by the other guy.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that. Holly-Brooke's gotta give that donation. I did give a donation.
And then the other basic thing was just to see if Holly-Brooke could get any additional information about this religion as a whole, since She seems to have been plunged right into it.
Holly-Brooke would like to explore around.
Sure. Holly-Brooke starts walking around. Cassandra, what about you?
I know we got the cool heatless flame thing going on. Is there any chill artwork I can look at? Stained glass windows, interesting paintings, cool carvings.
There are some mosaics on the walls.
Oh, yeah.
And as you kind of go and look at them, give me either a perception to just visually see them or an insight check to kind of get the basics behind it.
Insight 14.
Okay. You see, especially having come from Alorium, where this is depicted as the god of the death and decay and things like that. You don't see any of that, and that's obviously been explained already. And what you do see are things like bountiful harvests, people with large families, basically things you would associate really with a god of life or birth, which is kind of surprising, again, to see in the god of the dead's sanctuary. However, as your eyes continue around, you can kind of see that there is some type of harmonious interaction with this, where all of these things, as the others have come to realize, basically culminate in death in the end. So even though these things are depictions of life, the understanding and the real emphasis is that all of these things end.
Okay. Getting real circle of life vibes here.
Although I will say, because you asked specifically, you do not see any figures as far as the god itself. You don't see the god depicted.
Are there? But there are other depictions of people, like humans.
I mean, humans, but they don't seem like you're also not looking at Abraham or Noah or something. These are just people.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna continue looking around and soaking up all the cool architecture.
Okie dokie. What about Ayhaz? What's Ayhaz up to?
Ayhaz is wandering around looking for religious artifacts and artwork with an eye for things that are grotesque and creepy. He's still holding out hope that the god of the dead can have some creepy, I visited a cathedral in Europe once where they had the skeletal hand of a saint, stuff like that.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Once again, it's a 3 for his ability to discern religious stuff.
As you look around, there's nothing that comes to your eye line. You don't look at anything that seems grotesque or seems creepy. However, what I would like in this instance is basically a stealth check.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. A dirty 20. With a dirty 20 to your stealth check, you're like, okay, nothing creepy is on the surface level. I don't see anything that I like. However, there's a bunch of little arches to the side that could be a cool hidey hole. And if I was going to hide, that's where I'd be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you like to go over to the hidey holes?
Yes, of course.
All right. As you go over, give me, give me an intelligence saving throw. Nothing bad will happen to you, but it's not really a check.
Okay.
And at this point, Ayhaz just ran out of the church.
Whoa, 17.
Okay, cool. As you go around, I think Ayhaz, especially as someone who does not have a faith, which is honestly the rarest religion of them all in the world where gods are seen on the daily.
If you want to.
Yeah, I think with you looking around, though, even though you have not practiced your own religion, you see different traditions, I guess, but involving the death and burial and things like that. So you see all of these individual holes. They're not they don't each look the same. So it's not everyone has the same number of candles and all has this and that. Each thing looks different. So some of them have candles that are burning. Some of them are stuffed with like old branches and herbs and things like that. Some of them, you can tell that the body inside had been basically ground up to a paste or ground up into like ashes or something like that.
Wow.
Some of the bodies are full intact. Some of the bodies are full intact and still have like the flesh on them. Whether they've been embalmed or magically preserved, you can't quite tell.
Mm.
Of these different types, what would Ayhaz be drawn to the most?
I would say it's a toss-up between the ones that are ground up into zombie burgers and the ones that are mostly intact. I'm going to say the ones that are mostly intact. What's going on with those?
All right. Now what I would like is a Constitution save. And you're pretty good at that.
That's an 8.
All right. Ayhaz is going to commit sacrilege, but we'll come back to that in a little bit.
Next time on Desecration.
Holly-Brooke, what
Yes.
were you doing? You wanted to do something, and I forgot what it was.
Kind of walk around, maybe eventually work up the courage to talk to somebody.
All right. What type of person are you trying to talk to? Just like a random person, or like that guy who was at the front of the church?
Kind of like a priest of somebody that actually kind of works there, lives there, knows the religion.
Okay. So the guy at the front, basically.
Yes.
Okay. As you approach and you try to make small talk with this person, give me just either a charisma or persuasion, your choice.
Hey, and that 20.
Oh,
there you go.
shit.
Oh,
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
You're the new pastor now.
Behold,
Behold,
this
the
is
chosen
all
one.
now mine.
So this person, as you look at him, standing relatively tall. How tall are you again?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You are 5'7". At 5'7", he's a little bit taller than you, not like by a foot or anything, but he's taller. And again, bald head, clean shaven face, no shirt on, no armor on the top, but very fuzzy legs. And he's kind of like just scanning the room, but as you approach him, he immediately sees you, and he kind of stiffens up in a bit, like he doesn't know how to react. But as soon as you start talking to him with a 20 on your charisma check, he almost instantly just like, you see that just break, and he's like, I can talk to this person. Yeah, what's like the first thing you ask?
Crap, I didn't expect to do so well, so I don't know. Like when you expect the crappy roll and it's just like, oh crap, that actually turned out well. It wasn't hurt. She's heard it again, and she's heard it multiple times. But like, what's his view on the religion, and like, what is it? What does it mean?
Give me a charisma save.
Oof, that's just
Cool. You show up, you look at this man, you open your mouth, and before you even actually get to say anything, he again calms down, and you realize he's seeing you almost like he's seeing like his old friend, or maybe even a family member or something. That says, Holly-Brooke, you are here now, yes.
yes, I am here.
I am to be speaking with you about the god. You are many questions, yes.
I
Yes.
always get a little thrill when the background characters are coded as foreign.
My death god.
You have come far, and I will tell you many things. You watch, he outstretches his hand. He has very sweaty palms, and he expects you to take his hand.
She does one of those like barely touches it kind of a thing.
You pinch his palm between your thumb and forefinger.
Yeah.
You walk with him. And he brings you to the opposite side of this building that Ayhaz is at, because there's two sections of the church that has burial sites. And as he goes to the other one, so Ayhaz isn't nearby. And he points out, he says, you were once in one of these not too long ago.
Okay, yes. I was dead. I was in something like this.
Well, not this specifically, but you know, something similar. So tell me about that, girl.
Suddenly very hip.
Why is that priest Z snapping?
Yeah, I'm having way too much fun at this. I like this character. Okay, yes. I was dead. I was in a burial site. Was he asking a question? What did I missed?
I think the whole thing was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, so he wants to know like how I died?
I mean, he's basically just asking you in general for more details about that.
I was killed when my party. Crap! How did I die? Been so long.
There's a certain point in the story where you might not remember everything.
You've forgotten your own backstory. It's okay. Ultimately, you were on a quest with your previous group. You were too headstrong. You decided, like, hey, we can do this, and then you immediately died.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought, but like I didn't know. Did we ever go into detail on how she died?
I don't think we did, and I kind of like wanted to leave it open in case you wanted to put something specific. Otherwise, I will fill it in.
Oh, we've been so crazy busy, I forgot. So we'll just fill it in as we go.
Actually, you know what? I think instead, Holly-Brooke doesn't know.
Hey, it works.
Holly-Brooke knows that you were on a quest, that you were in some type of dungeon of sorts, and you didn't come out. You remember waking up after you got revived, but you don't actually remember dying.
So yes, my party went on a quest. We went, and that is where things get fuzzy. And next thing I know, I wake up and I was dead, and I am now revived.
You were dead.
You were dead. Oh boy.
But you did not know of our god.
I did not. I am new to this god.
Our god knows of you, evidently. He is, as they say, very tricky.
Yeah, he definitely knows me. I just don't know why he knows me and why me of all people.
Well, it sounds like he has plans for you.
Will I ever be told what these plans are?
Never. Or maybe today. It
So-
may be any time or no time.
Yeah. Those are all
So
the
I
times.
am just at this god's whim.
Aren't we all?
Man, you said it.
Give me an insight check.
An 11.
Okay. He's like, obviously he's being weird. But you can't quite tell if that's just how this guy is.
I just thought it was their culture.
It is not my place to judge.
He's kind of like eyeing you, and he's looking for an answer, and you realize like what he's looking for is not necessarily like the words you say, but kind of like if you even have an answer. And the fact that you don't have an answer to this is saying more than any answer you could have given. And he looks at you and he puts his like finger and his thumb to his chin, almost like he's thinking, but he just keeps staring at you and says, I think you should stay in the Ice Shroud Dominion for a little while as you get to know our god. And as he says that, he very quickly just sinks into the ground and kind of disappears into the floor.
Ooh, I like this guy.
However, it's not like a ghost or anything. There's just a hole in the floor now, and you don't know where he went.
Oh,
This is a theatrical church. I mean,
So I stand there and I look around like, did anybody else just see this?
yeah. I thought he was a Drackler, but he's not.
I think everybody that's in like the close proximity to you is just very like focused on praying. So no one near you saw anything that you were doing. And I know most people are busy with other things. Speaking of which, Holly-Brooke, as you kind of scan to see, like, did anyone see that? Who of your party would you look for first?
Ooh, probably just whoever's the closest. I don't think she really has feelings more towards one or the other.
Okay, I think Ayhaz, Carbon Fang, and Cassandra are pretty close together to themselves in the center of this building, and since you're kind of just off to one side, they are technically closest to you.
Then probably that general direction where they are like trying to get any one of their attention. Like, did you see anything?
The three of them seem to be preoccupied. They were looking, like, two of them were looking at art, and oh no, Ayhaz is not over there. It's just Carbon Fang and Cassandra. Carbon Fang and Cassandra are both looking at various types of art and depictions and things like that.
Okay.
As the three of you are together, Eustace, you have most of your friends further in the church. You are kind of at the front where that blue flame bowl was. What draws Eustace, if anything?
I think he would go look for whoever is the highest ranking person to have a dialogue with them. Like, whoever's the highest ranking in the church. Like, I don't know if there's a minister or anything.
Sure, give me a D20.
Okay. That is a 10.
Okay. You have that thought, you turn around, and you didn't know who this guy was, but that guy that was talking to Holly-Brooke is now like 6 inches behind you.
Well, hello there.
Hello, and welcome to the church.
Ooh, interesting. The church. That's fun. Could you tell me a little bit about this? I'm from the Church of Joaquin Phoenix, the jester at times, and other times he looks for signs and things like that and provides signs for us. I was wondering if you could set up some sort of cultural exchange here. Where I'm from, this is not quite what we have been told your organization and your religion is.
There's also something that I would like. Can you give me a percentile dice?
Yeah, sure. That is
a D100.
D100. Okay, that is a 76.
Okay. As you start like just blurting out things, he puts a very sweaty hand on your face, fully stopping you from talking, and it says, "Hold on 1 second," and then he lets go of your face. And as there's like this weird, awkward silence between the two of you, you can see, because he's like right in front of you, he's looking at you, but he's not looking at your face. It's almost like he's looking at like your shoulder, but like maybe 6 inches above your shoulder.
Oh, that's creepy. Two things. One, how did the hand smell? Like the sweaty palm.
I mean, it smelled like sweat. I don't know.
Okay, but not like decaying flesh.
Oh no, it wasn't like rotten or anything. It's very.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Give me a medicine check.
Okay, that's a 2. Well, 3 actually. Not that makes much of a difference.
I think one of the things that strikes you is the fact that this humanoid looks humanoid, but also just doesn't look right. Like there's something about him that you can't quite tell is wrong.
Okay, all right. So Eustace is already a little on edge. It's not every day a sweaty, human effigy man puts his hand on your face. Eustace would, given his background in regard to spooks and specters, would probably immediately turn around and check his shoulder to make sure there is nothing there.
As you turn around, you see absolutely nothing. And as you kind of just stand there for like 2 seconds, expecting something, you hear the man continue speaking. He says, "Hello, Nancy." And you would remember that that's your mother's name.
Eustace starts shivering, and probably he would have a panic attack, given ghosts.
Yeah, you know what? Give me a Constitution check with disadvantage.
Okay. Ooh, that's a 6.
Okay. I will give you an option. You can either immediately leave this building.
Uh-oh.
Or something else will happen.
Interesting. That's a good question because I think Eustace would flee immediately at ghosts. However, I think the fact that the mom is there, that would definitely he's in shock, probably.
Okay, I like that. You are in shock, and you don't quite go into the fight or flight response. You kind of just shut down.
Yeah.
And Eustace, you're kind of just like in your own mind for a little bit, and we're gonna leave you for a bit, and maybe we'll come back in a minute. Going back to Ayhaz, you had found this body that's mostly intact. You see the body is wearing a full set of clothes. They have a little hat on their head. It is a middle-aged man, not overly thin, not overly fat, kind of just an average-looking man, wearing nice enough, this person was buried in a set of clothes. So it's not like just a random set of clothes, but also not like Balenciaga or whatever. The man is surrounded by a few of his possessions in this hole. And one of which is a pair of shoes, which is actually right next to his head, right by the center of the entrance to this little hidey hole.
Yep.
And having failed your constitution save with an 8, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you know what to do.
I mean, remember in Scooby-Doo, whenever they'd have a Scooby snack, and they'd just kind of like float in the air, and just like their eyes would bug out? That's kind of Ayhaz right now. He's never had something this exotic. Can't pass up the opportunity. Oh my goodness. That's just so rare. This is like that cheese in Italy with the maggots in it. It's disgusting, but you can't say no, because how many other places are you going to get to have something this delicate, this rare?
In this moment, Eustace is useless. Holly-Brooke too far away. Carbon Fang, Cassandra, and Myrtle, you are in the center of the building. You have a possibility of catching Ayhaz's eye line. Each of you can give me a perception check to catch a sight of this, and if you so choose, then interact.
Do I see anything with perception?
So Carbon Fang gets a 12. Ayhaz, give me a stealth check with disadvantage since you're not being stealthy about it.
I got a 17.
Yes. Oh, wait.
19. That's with disadvantage.
God damn. Okay, I guess no. With your 17, you also don't see this. Ayhaz is just.
You don't get to join this party. This is an exclusive party unique to my mental health problems.
I guess Cassandra, if you would like to give a perception, you just need to be the 19.
Let's see what I can do. 7! I
Definitely
found
not.
God. It's a toilet.
Holly-Brooke, you have no way of interacting, but also give me a perception check just to see if you can see this happening and then die a little inside.
Die a little more, you mean?
Yeah.
You said perception, right?
Yes, please.
17.
Very close.
Ooh.
All right, so no one of your friends, at least, sees this. I am going to roll. Someone's going to see it regardless, but this is just to see if the random people praying near you see you. Oh, with a 21, they do.
Oh, wow.
So
Most distracted people in the room somehow notice.
Yeah, I mean, I think when this naked orange man starts ogling a dead man's shoes, they tend to notice.
Yes.
So you have your moment of like, ooh, how amazing. What is your intention of these shoes?
I mean, I think we all know my intention with shoes.
All right. Well, as soon as you indulge yourself, the people near you are going to start screaming.
I'm
A
not
combination-
here to kink shame, but I am getting kink shame.
I think at this point, everybody in the party, minus Eustace, is screaming church. Okay, so hopefully we didn't lose a bunch of stuff, but we'll find out later.
Looks like about 5 minutes.
Yes, so, Eustace, you are standing there with a handful of gold in front of a donation box. What would you, without knowing any context, what would you do with that gold?
Hey, Eustace would assume he blacked out, something weird happened, and he isn't sure where the gold came from, but he's too freaked out to think much more than, oh shit, this probably looks bad, and puts all the gold in his pockets, just in order to make the situation go away as quickly as possible.
Okay, that's fair. No roll required, because in reality, it's your own gold, so it's fine. As you do so, though, you also see all of your friends rushedly exiting this place of worship.
Eustace takes that as a very, he's like, great idea. I wanted to do this. Okay, yes, let's go. And he just immediately hauls ass out of the church.
At this point, all of you exit the church, and you are in this small town. You can do whatever you would like in the small town. Like I said, there's a pierogi stand next door, or the other thing that you guys wanted to do was to go to that ice cavern where there might be ice trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of us catch the fact that Eustace was out of it?
Out of it, no. But if anyone would like to give me a perception check to see if you saw him make a donation.
You said perception?
Yeah.
Hey, a 24.
Okay.
Whoa.
I think
Okay.
with a 24, you saw him... Oh, well, a 6. Nope, Carvin Fang had no idea. With a 24, I think, Holly-Brooke, you saw Eustace drop the coin in and then saw him look really confused for a second, but that's about it.
Okay. So that would make sense because she also donated.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, as far as Holly-Brooke is aware, he's just making a donation.
Not having an existential panic attack. Loss of control. Shit.
But you all are outside again. It's cold, but not snowing.
Do we need to get Ayhaz some clothes?
Normally, no, but around here, probably.
This is out of character. It's like, you can lead a horse to water.
I mean, with a quick glance around, you do see a place that seems to have clothing for sale.
So, I don't know. It was just a suggestion.
So if that's something you would like to do, you may do so.
But ice trolls also sound fun, so.
Before going after ice trolls, Ayhaz would like to have something. Having been nearly frozen before, would like to have something for the ice capades.
Okay. There's a clothing store, just a couple of buildings away. That's very clearly marked.
Let's do it.
All right. You see this store. You're outside. It's very cold, and you see 4 more people that look like that guy that you saw in the church. They're all shirtless. They've all got fuzzy pants on, and you see above it, it says Amber, Zombie, and Lich, and you can go inside and make a purchase.
Okay. Nothing suspicious there.
Gold star, A+.
But all of the clothing on the inside you see are warm weather clothing. So lots of fuzzies, lots of like thick material. There's things that are knitted, or there's things that are like just hides. So it's really up to you as far as aesthetics and what you would like.
I'm going to go with hide.
Okay. Would you like to get something that has like an armor to it, like a thick armor, or is it just purely for clothing?
I guess if it's the main goal is to keep warm in the ice caves, but if there's something with some armor protection, that'd be cool.
Cool. Sure, you can definitely get this like thick leather coat. And it doesn't seem to be cow leather. It seems like it's actually seal. And you could definitely wear this. This will help you with the cold. And it does come with some very basic armor.
Okay.
So you can now add to yourself clothes.
1 year in real time.
11 months it took you to get clothes.
Inventory, let's see. Clothing. When I type in clothing, the first thing that comes up is lobster illusionary clothing.
Put clothes, not clothing.
Clothes, yeah. Common, costume, fine, travelers.
Put common.
Okay. Go. I got some common clothing. Yeah.
All right, so you have protection of the cold. Would anyone else like anything, perhaps, to keep yourself warm?
I doubt
Absolutely.
Holly-Brooke could afford anything right now.
Do we get something in case we get lost in the snowstorm again?
Yeah, that'd be a smart idea.
All right, would you guys like a tent? Does anyone have a tinderbox?
Probably.
I might. Let me check.
Yeah, I do.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good thing to have. I think another good thing to have would be to everybody have a bedroll and also tents. You could either each get your own tent or you could double up on a 2-person tent or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Do they have any tents for more than 2 people?
I don't know. Let me check.
We get
No.
a yurt.
Oh. I've got a blanket.
I want to get a yurt.
Just get a Sherpa.
Can we just hire a Sherpa?
Can we get a golem?
Yeah, you see the guy behind the counter just take out one of those really long sticks and pulls a man down from the rafters and says, "Here's your shirt."
His name is Steve. He likes popcorn and macaroni and cheese.
But what I would say is if you guys were to pile together, let's call it 40 gold between the 6 of you, you'll have bedrolls and tents that would suit all of you.
Hooray.
That's fine. I have 200. I can pay for it.
There
Well,
you
thank
go.
you.
Like,
You want to just split it? You do 20 and I do 20?
Nah.
Sure?
Yeah.
Eh.
It's a very, very Carbon Fang Christmas.
Since Carbon Fang doesn't want to split it, what else is available?
I mean, there are lots of supplies that if you wanted to get something, if you wanted to perhaps get like ice picks, pittons, rope, or really anything that you would like.
I would like to get some warm clothing and a snowboard.
Okay. You can definitely get the warm clothing. As far as the snowboard,
What about like a sled? Like that we could put stuff in and pull?
yeah, you can get a sled.
Okay.
So you ask the man, "Hey, I would like a sled." And they say, "Well, we can get you one and we'll give it to you outside." And you're like, "Cool." And they say, "That's 20 gold, please."
Boom. Done.
All right.
Does that include the clothing?
Yes. So you've got clothing and a sled. And as you guys finish your shopping and you head out, you see one of the workers. Actually, you see all 4 of the people who were outside pushing basically what looks like Santa's sleigh to the front of the shop. And they say, "Here you go."
I meant more like a dog sled sort of a thing, and not like a deer sled sort of a thing.
Sled. All right.
You now have a 300-pound sled.
Yeah,
Eustace, I need you.
We're sorry, Eustace is not available at this point in time. What do you need help with?
Well, I'm thinking if I take this rope and we tie it to you.
Why would you want to do that?
Because I'm tired of walking.
No, thanks. Things are good. Bye.
Is there some place I can rent some deer?
You can rent 1 deer for 50 gold. It's a reindeer.
That's quite steep.
Can I convince someone to let me borrow their deer, and when we return, I will give them the sled?
Okay. Because you're offering collateral, I guess, even though they're not going to get to hold on to the collateral. Give me persuasion with advantage.
Mm-hmm. With advantage, roll 17.
Okay. So question to you: do you truly intend to give the sled?
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck am I gonna take it back to Lorem? Like, they can have the sled, I'll give it to it.
All right.
If it
so
gets
then,
destroyed, I'll give them 20 gold instead.
in that case, yes, you get a new reindeer.
Hell yeah, hop in, fuckers, let's go.
If you refresh your page, Cassandra, you should now have your sled and your reindeer.
I am refreshing.
And it will be at the very bottom. They're considered containers.
Both of them. What am I putting in my reindeer?
Unleaded, you don't have to go for premium. But,
all right. Well, you now have a sled with a reindeer that can pull it. You also have enough bedrolls and tents and things. And I would even say that if you want, like those types of items, you could just keep in the sled. So if you leave the sled, you can do whatever. But yeah, so it seems like you guys have the equipment that you would need for some exploring.
Yeah.
Did anyone get a map?
Carbon Fang has a map, but it's a very generic map of the entire region of the Ice Shroud Dominion.
Do they have better maps?
You know what? Give me a investigation check, and if it's above a 10, we'll say sure.
A 15?
Sure. You get one silver piece. You get a nice map of like this village. And actually, you know what? Give me an intelligence check. Okay.
Can I use my heroic inspiration?
Yes, you can. Hopefully the gods don't say 2 ones.
Close enough.
Oh, all right. Well, a 9. At least you realize it's a map. It's a map. You can make heads or tails of it, although it's definitely different than other maps you've had. A lot of the
Can anyone else read it?
yeah, but the one thing that you notice is that a lot of the things that you would take for granted of a map is not on this map. Who would you like to give it to? Someone else, or
Can anyone else read this? Apparently, I've had a head injury.
I mean, I'll take a look at it.
between the group of you, you can make heads or tails of it. The thing that is noticeable is that usually maps are drawn with like solid lines for borders and such, but a lot of these towns and such things don't necessarily have that, but you don't know what that means, and it doesn't matter right now. But you can see a few caves in the area that you can see marked on the map, all of them being within like the tundra, so any of them could be a icy cave. Would you like to try to find additional information, or are you just gonna cave hop until you find the right one?
No.
I don't know. I'm not driving the sled. I just bought it.
Actually, a point of order. Does any of you have a proficiency with land vehicles?
Oh, right.
I do.
Hey.
I don't know how, but Holly-Brooke has a proficient under tools. It says vehicles land.
So,
Part of her beauty pageant.
your previous life as a Yuletide calendar gal, you've learned how to drive a sled. So, Holly-Brooke, you know how to do sleds. You tell me what you would like to do and where to go.
Yeah, this won't end well. I mean, do we know which cave? Did any of us actually ask and stop to get directions?
I bought a map that nobody can read.
You can read the map and you can see that there are caves. You just don't know which cave you need to go to.
You guys know that gif of is it Sailor Jupiter rolling up in a convertible? Let's get in, whores. That's what I just did with the sleigh.
Well, we just bring it back to one of the town people and ask them which
That's
cave to go
true.
to.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
All right.
Practical.
If you would like to ask around, give me a persuasion check.
Do we all need to do it, or
I got +2 persuasion.
Got +5. 21.
Oh.
14.
All right. With Cassandra, you find some people. You recognize them from the diner that you're at, and they were the ones that were talking about this. You ask them, "Oh, where was that cave again?" So that I know not to go there. And they point in a direction. They say it's there, and you can figure out on the map. You're like, "Okay, it's that one." So you have now
Can
pinpointed
you
the correct cave.
circle on this map the cave I should stay away from? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
They put a big red circle right around the cave entrance.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Holly-Brooke, you are now able to find your way to the cave. Give me a survival check with advantage.
oof?
Oh. Okay. So give me an animal handling check.
Yeah, not great either.
Okay. With a 12 on your survival and a 10 on your animal handling, you find your way to this cave, but the reindeer keeps stopping. And you're not understanding why. You're getting frustrated. So eventually you get there. It takes probably twice as long as it should have. And you're just really frustrated by the time you get to this cave.
Holly-Brooke is pissed.
And at this point, it's like dusk. So it's definitely much colder than it was. There's some flurries coming out of the air, but no like real snow. But it's definitely getting cold out. And the dark mouth of the cave stands right in front of you. You have icicles hanging over the front, making it almost look like it has teeth. But as you look around, there's really nothing on the outside. It's a hole straight into this icy mountain. It's definitely made out of rock. It's not made out of ice, but it's just icy. And as you see, you can either possibly make a camp outside and wait for the night, or enter in.
Ooh.
Well,
Holly-Brooke's blaming the animals for all the issues, so she's just sitting there blaming everybody but herself.
That sounds familiar. We have a cave that is going to be dark in the morning as it is at night. So either way, you're going to need light. But it's really just a matter of where you want to kind of like make your camp. Are you going to try to camp inside the cave or camp outside?
I'd say camp outside. I mean, how far in do we have to go? I mean, blocking the wind is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, except for the whole troll thing, I would prefer probably in the cave.
Agreed.
I'll protect you from the troll getting your hole.
So yeah, maybe just at the entrance then, so we're out of the wind, but we're not in.
I mean, that makes sense. So you guys go into the cave, but not delve into the cave. You're just out of the air.
Just a tip, as it were.
Okay, for sure. What I would like in that case is for everybody to give me a survival check.
17.
3.
16.
10.
Ooh, Carbon Fang is very good.
Hey.
Okay, so you have quite the spread of numbers here. What I need is, so you have 3 tents for 2 people each. So what are the pairings?
Well, Holly-Brooke's not happy that she's got to share with somebody, so who got saddled up with Holly-Brooke's?
Well, Holly-Brooke could have bought her own goddamn tent.
Eustace just ignores everyone and immediately goes into the first tent that was put up. He's done after this day.
Eustace with a 3 on his survival check is just sitting there holding poles. Like, how do I tent?
Well, if Eustace got a 3, he's not sleeping in my tent.
Eustace doesn't even care. He's like, it's cold. This is fine. We all return to death, I guess.
Did the sled fit in the front of the cave?
I'm gonna say no. You had to leave it outside the mouth.
Oh, I was gonna, because if it did, I was just gonna like taunt a blanket over the top of it and like turn it into its own little tent. Always got to be crushing my dreams.
That's the DM's job, crushing your dreams.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just gonna put a tent together and get in it and go to sleep. And if somebody else joins me, cool. I don't really care who. Except Eustace.
Hi, I'm joining.
Son of a bitch.
Carbon Fang, since
My tent broke. Can I come in?
since Carbon Fang got a 22 on their survival check off of a nat 20, you have a very well put tent. You have no issues, no space for the air to get in, and you can choose who you're bunking with for the night.
I think I'll choose my fellow Dragonborn, Ayhaz.
All right. So we got the Scalies in one tent. Then we've got Myrtle with a 20 on her survival check. You also make a very fine tent. Who would you like?
Holly-Brooke needs somebody to.
Yeah, I think I'll choose Holly-Brooke. She's dead already, so maybe they won't notice me.
All right. Sounds like Cassandra, you're stuck with Eustace.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry, my tent broke.
So, like, my tent's not working? This never happens. It's your
all right.
fault, because you're whore.
So between the 6 of you, you have an average of a 12. So no issues sleeping through the night. All of you will be okay. You have everybody who has rations, remove 1 ration since you will need to eat for the day. And we will wrap up here. And next time you can go further into the cave.
Huzzah!
Thank you for listening to Remedial Adventuring. The intro-outro song is Thinking Doc by Anachronite, and our various ambient tracks are by Bardify. Our players have asked to remain anonymous, at least for now, but I have been your DM, Adam Souza. I'm putting together the next episode now, which should go live in about 2 weeks, so thanks again for listening, and I hope to see you again.
Daddy, can I drink blood?